It's August 1914. Australia's Prime Minister Andrew Fisher has called the nation to go to war against a militaristic Germany. Church leaders enjoyed strong support when they painted pictures of purifying and strengthening effects of sacrifices the young men would make in battle. Clergymen of every description volunteered in large numbers as chaplains, reflecting the general enthusiasm for war as a way of proving ourselves as worthy members of the British Empire. Neither the churches nor the army knew what to do to prepare the padres. Preachers reported culture shock as they left their pulpits and their polite convents. Neither the churches nor the army knew what to do to prepare the padres. Preachers reported culture shock when they left their pulpits and polite congregations to join military camps full of virile young Australians training as fighting men. Clerical collars and university education didn't readily cut it with the many shearers, stockmen, blacksmiths, railway fiddlers, miners, bullockys and ironworkers in the camp. The men saw them as non-combatants reluctant to pick up a gun, who were most likely to preach against manly activities like swearing, drinking, gambling and womanising. These eager young Australians were keen to prove themselves as warriors, mano el mano. What possible use was a sermon on the battlefield? As the ANZAC legend evolved in the months that followed, both chaplains and fighting men were to prove themselves in different ways on board the transport ships, in training camps in Egypt and in the baptism of fire at Gallipoli. The preachers began to look past the rough exterior of the men and learn to like them by yarning and listening to their stories. They served them by organising sports, canteens, writing letters and acting as tour guides for those eager to learn about the ancient world. The burly Salvation Army chaplain William Mackenzie even plunged into the brothels of Cairo to drag out young soldiers to rescue them from the rampant VD. At the same time, he and other chaplains called them to live up to the challenge of being their best selves for their mothers, sisters and wives. This ex-cane farmer also outmarched the younger men in training, was faster at digging trenches, was a pretty fair shot with a .303 rifle and made a swift impression with an uppercut in boxing matches. But it was at the baptism of fire at Gallipoli that the ANZACs dubbed him Fighting Mac. The chaplains didn't dodge the front line. Two of them died in no man's land trying to retrieve a wounded man in the ferocious battle at Lone Pine. In the same action, Fighting Mac earned the admiration of the men by declaring he would consider himself a coward if he didn't go over the top with them. Later, when he walked down Shrapnel Valley on Sundays singing a hymn, ANZACs all across the hill joined in, climbing out of their trenches to follow him to the service. The chaplains won the men by carrying stretchers, nursing the wounded and dying, and burying the 3,000 young Aussies and Kiwis who died there. They carried the added burden of riding home to their families. Several won medals for bravery, but like most of the returning soldiers, they brought home a revulsion for war. The horrors took a strain. A number, including Fighting Mac, suffered with post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not widely known that tough salvo returned to Australia probably the best-known ANZAC. It's reported he had trouble getting from Town Hall Station to his office because of the crowds that wanted to shake his hand. He and his fellow chaplains had shown that they were not only genuine ANZACs, but true followers of the Jesus who said, "Greater love has no man than this, than he laid down his life for his friends." If you want to find out more stories like this, go to theoutbackhistorian.com.au. This has been Paul Rowe. I'll catch you down the track.